let's go. Hey. So that is Mike's new hit, so it will come out soon. Yeah, I'm Dirk. I'm from the Caribbean originally, and I'm based a long time in between Dubai and Thailand, and of course Europe also. So I'm Dutch Caribbean, so that's why I look like this. And one of my brands is Yalla Limited and Yalla Properties and Thai Realty Group and Arrowverse. That's why I'm wearing the Arrowverse cap. Arrowverse is disrupting the private jet industry. So we're gonna talk about two topics. One of them, if the clicker works, yeah. One of them is real estate, so digitalization of real estate, and the other one is digitalization disruption of the private jet industry, right? So these are the two main topics we will talk about. First, real estate. So real estate, the thing is people always have problems of how to digitize real estate. You can digitize real estate in so many forms and formats. It's just unlimited. First of all, you can do it through an SPV. You can do it through directly on the real estate, together with the government, which is the most difficult task. So you don't use any special purpose vehicle or any SPV, or you can do it through a fund, or through a fund of funds, or through a REIT, so a real estate investment trust. So, but are you really digitizing the real estate? That's the question, because you're digitizing a share, you're digitizing a company which holds that real estate, right? So I believe that things are gonna change a lot, but I believe that digitization of real estate is more about the utility of digitalization. So that means for pre-sales and post-sales. So we're going into full ownership, fractional ownership. We're going into easier way, in a more seamless way, to change ownerships in small pieces or in large pieces or in full pieces, right? And also it would be much more easier to manage everything. Then the other digitization of real estate a lot of people are talking about is metaverse, or using NFTs, or using tokens or securities on the real estate. Yeah. So for example, for me, metaverse is really important because you can use exact parallel virtual twins, which are an exact copy of the real estate in the metaverse. I believe in the exact parallel twin, which is always in sync. Why is that? Because it's useful. It is useful for facility management, pre-sales, post-sales, DeFi, and IoT. For example, something breaks in your house, you have the metaverse, you just go to your metaverse, you click there, and that's gonna be fixed. That, where you clicked, was that tile in that location, and that tile in that location is already in the system. You know which tile it is, you know how thick the tile is, you know all the providers who has that tile. We know which provider is available. We know the prices, it's all going on the smart contract, it's all going in the back, all automatic. We don't have to call anyone, it's all automatic. This is a real example of a utility, right? A lot of people talk about the gamified triplets, right? That you have a game that you can buy in a virtual world, you can play a game and you can own land. I'm not into that. So that has to be very clear. I believe in the utility of everything. That's why you also see, in my opinion, a lot of problems now with all these exchanges, with everything, because they forget about the real world. Because regulation will always be there. I mean, it's a dream to be completely decentralized, which I would love that it would happen, but good luck with that. And so what happens now is also because of metaverse and because all these systems, NFTs and everything, you can see that there are many more digital nomads. Your privacy is more secured, your seamlessness is everything is faster, everything is more seamless, everything is trackable, everything is real time, authentication is there. So you have all these benefits of this digitalization of real estate. My projects currently are in Thailand, in Switzerland, yes, and in Germany. And I'm working on Morocco, okay? These are my main projects. My background is that I did the biggest projects in Dubai. That's the main thing, and also in other parts of the world, but that's where I did my most successful projects. Then also for digitalization of real estate, always lifestyle and ecosystem and health, rejuvenation and anti-aging still, in my opinion, is one of the most important things. So you can combine education or rejuvenation, anti-aging and everything really much more easier if you digitize everything, right? But still, it is still real estate. So location is location, is location, is location. It's still number one when you look at real estate. Then also the digitalization combined with IoT will be much more easier. And also it's much more easier to create USPs, unique selling points. And it's much more easier to integrate, and it's much more easier to communicate to the client. So it's much more easier to sell. And also, through all this digitalization, your community becomes much stronger and much more interactive and much closer to you. Then you can go to another step, which is then you can use utility tokens, for example, and not only security tokens, right? Then you can also implement NFTs with different tiers, which gives rights to the property, which maybe doesn't say that the people who buy the tokens or the NFTs maybe not own them. So then you're avoiding regulation. I don't want to go too deep on this, but I wanted to share you one whole day in a digitalized asset, but I won't go through it because I only have 15 minutes, because we still have another subject to go, which is Arrowverse. So Arrowverse is one of the companies I started with a friend of mine. My friend, he is the main owner, Jean-Pierre. He has a lot of experience in aviation, and all our team has huge experience in aviation. Me, myself, are the least experienced in aviation because I only worked for a private jet company for a short time, which was called Jet Republic. And then I went into other assets, like real estate. But still, I got involved because, first of all, I invested in the company. Second of all, I believe in the team. Third of all, private jet is still my passion, and I love flying, but I love flying in comfort. So what is Arrowverse? Arrowverse, we want to digitalize the payment of flying, because if you want to fly now with any private jet, it's very difficult, and it takes even sometimes 3 to 7 days to get your money to pay for a private jet. What is the convenience then anymore of the private jet? So you need to be able to pay with digital currencies, you need to have a good system, that is one of them. So let's say the DeFi part and the seamless digital payments for the jets. That's number one. Also, when you have paid, you don't get any reward when you have paid, even if you paid in 1 month or 2 months. So this payment will be staked, and you will get tokens back on your staking of your booking, right? And also, what Arrowverse can, if you're a club member, you can also get cashback. So what does it mean, cashback? Simple discount, right? And other things which are benefits are like any other charter company, which means like you have access to the brokerage, you have access to the community, you have access to charter, you have access to fractional ownership. Listen guys, fractional ownership of jets and full ownership of jets, and management, and charter. It doesn't stop there. And even if you don't want to use 4 hours for your jets or ownership of your jets, you can still exchange it to flight or experience or air experiences. What does it mean? Space travel, parachute jumping, simulator lessons, pilot license, school, whatever you want to do, right? And of course, we think about the environment, because everybody has to do something good, especially in your private jets, right? So I just give you a small teaser of how it will look like. There you can already go to the website, and this is a teaser of our app. It's just a simple app. You just book all your private jet flights with, for example, digital currencies or with fiat. And you can swap them, you can change them, you can do whatever you want, and you have also the NFTs coming up. You can have more look at Arrowverse.arrow, and you can ask me more questions about it, and I'm more than willing to answer a lot of questions. I'm not the guy from the, please remember, don't ask me how to fly planes or technical questions about planes. That is all other people in our team. But we also are purchasing our own planes and not only managing the planes. So we believe the sky is no limit. With this project, we're combining the traditional business, but we're still disrupting it, but we're keeping it traditional. So this is just an extra on everything which we normally do. Same with the real estate. I'm developing real estate in Samui. I'm developing real estate in other places in Thailand. I'm developing real estate coming up in Morocco, in Switzerland, Germany. But still, the traditional business is core, and digitalization of real estate and digitalization of jets are my hobby, passion. So let's make it more efficient, seamless, happy, and good. So I want to thank you all very much. And I kept it short and cheerful. And please, if there is a Q&A, people, any questions, please ask me now if you like. And also hope to see some of you in Phuket tomorrow. Horror show. Yes.
I have a question. Because you I have a question.
Don't worry, I will repeat the question. I will repeat the question.
Okay. I have a question. Because you must mapping your real estate to the on the chain, so it's not the size of.
Yeah, we are on that.
You must mapping your real estate on the blockchain.
No.
No, you do not do it. So how to finish the crypto to the NFT and with the relationship with your real estate is very important.
Yes, there are all different ways to do it. That's why I started in the beginning. One of them, which I did before, is real estate investment trust. So what you do, you start a real estate investment trust, you tokenize the real estate investment trust. That's one way which holds a certain property. That's number one, and which holds different SPVs, and you fractionalize in the SPVs. That is one way. The other way is what you say is much more complicated. Then we're talking about fractionalization and loans against properties and all this stuff. This is not possible at the moment, for example, in Thailand. It's not possible. Because what happens, you have to have a deal with land department. Yeah, with you have to digitalize the Shanoot. The only digitalization of the Shanoot you could do, which is the title deed in English, is that you can put an NFT on top, and that NFT would represent that title deed or that Shanoot, right? But still, it's not fractionalized or allowed, right? So because you still have to go to land department, you still have to do, maybe it would be a POA or anything. But what I'm talking about is that all different ways to digitalize the real estate. I'm not only talking about tokenization or NFT or REITs. It's the full digitalization of the real estate. What you're mentioning is just one part. And it's all different per each country and per each regulation. Because it's very complicated. In some countries, it's completely possible. Right? And in some, for example, let's take Dubai, right? In Dubai, you can only split the title deed into 30 persons. Right? In Dubai, you can do it through what some people do through an SPV, right? Because the SPV holds the special purpose vehicle, or the company holds the property, and then you just tokenize share of that property which holds it. Other people are doing it here, for example, in Pattaya, right? They are completely doing it through NFTs, but they only have 4 fractions of ownerships. They have 25%, 50%, 70%, and 100%. Completely different model again. So it also depends on what you're launching. Are you launching a resort? Are you launching one villa? Are you relaunching a club? Are you launching just ownership? Are you launching fractional? Are you launching right of use? Or are you launching ownership? So these are too many questions to define for each project, and then you can decide how you want to digitalize also in the financial form or ownership form. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, okay.
Because if you put it on the blockchain, then it's a different story, because you have to, the whole process you have to put on the blockchain. And then also you have to have an agreement with the land department and with the end user. It's possible, but it's a lot of work. I mean, there's other people here in the room who can tell you more about it.
Please, question.
I also have a question.
Yes.
So first of all, it was a great presentation.
Thank you.
And you look really young.
Yeah, that was one of my avatars.
Yeah, proves that aging factor.
Yes.
So my question was regarding the Arrowverse. As you mentioned, DeFi in your structure, right?
Yes.
So what is the tokenomics you are following? Because for the DeFi there is an emission rate, and there will be a continuous emission which will
Yes.
be a staking reward to the people, right? And we are going to have something which is like we are going to travel with that token in your chartered plane, right? So to access that, and if we are holding that token, we are staking in the DeFi and we are getting those tokens. So what is the tokenomics which we are building? Will it be like so efficient that you can manage the real world financial things, so you can structurize all your model, and or the DeFi would be the real DeFi factor?
Okay, good question. First of all, tokenomics is all ready, so we can share it with you. It's not a problem. I'm not here to sell anything, and honestly, we don't even have any allocation left. So, but we also will have an announcement of a really big partner, one of the biggest partners in the world on private jets. But the thing is, of course, there is more openness for partnerships, so that is for sure. But to answer your question, tokenomics we have full. You can take a look into it. It's nothing secret. It's all open. And then secondly, on your question, we're doing everything traditionally, yeah. And the thing is that if you don't use your money, you can stake it, and that's it. And if you talk about burn mechanisms and all these kinds of things, that has for us no risk, because we are not using those tokens to. We don't use our own token to fly and to that you have to buy with that and this and that. No, we don't do that. So that answers your question, because that would be a big risk for us, and we're not into that kind of business. It is just disrupting the traditional industry and using digitalization of the asset itself, and using tokenomics for seamless and more easier payment. But it will be immediately converted to fiat and will be paid by fiat. And if you don't use it, you get rewarded. And if you want more information, I have all the guys. Yes?
You spoke about tokenization of jets.
Yeah.
That's directly through the app, right? But what's the model if I own, let's say, 5% of the jet?
Okay, for example, jets, you can only fractionalize up to 1/16th,
Right.
and not more, because then you have a problem, right? And you can go up to full ownership, half ownership, 1/8 or 1/16th, if you want to fractionalize that. If you want to go further, we don't do that, because then there's a risk involved.
And where does that regulation sit?
Depends where your plane is registered,
Right.
and depends on where you fly also.
So it's 1/16th across the world, or just from...
No, for us, because all the fractionalization of jets don't use more than 1/32nd, but we use up to 1/16th.
Right. And
Because we
why
don't want
do you
any
cap-
risk.
Yeah, why do you cap that?
Because there's a risk of management, because there's a risk of flying hours, because every person wants to fly when they want to fly, right? And if you also would need a lot of jets in your own ownership,
Right.
to have the demand, right? But we are announcing a big collaboration with a huge company, and so we won't have that problem. But we will never go that way, because it's not our business to make money with that. Our business is to disrupt the industry and to go, because the aviation industry is very traditional. Same as the banking industry. Let's take one of the biggest banks here. Is very traditional, and they need technical innovation, right? Same as the aviation industry, which is very, very classical. So to disrupt this, you have to be very careful.
Right. And is it only about flight time or also revenue?
No, it's revenue, it's hours, it is ownership, it is completely different, because hours are different than ownership. Yes, you can have ownership which represents certain hours. But you can also say I'm not flying at all, but I have ownership and I just get a yield on my money plus the stake in. Right? Yeah. You get it? Yeah, that answers your question. And more questions after also. Who is, by the way, one more and then we're done, right?
Yeah, so like following the question about practical migration of jets, so also there is maintenance cost.
Yes.
Yeah, and as I understand, you are like managing company
Yes.
manage these jets. So
Yes.
the question is how you charge from owners of the jet this maintenance cost. So what is it part of like what programs or what's
Okay, depends again. If the owner has the jet in our full management, if the owner owns the jet or the owner owns a fraction, if he wants to manage it himself, also possible, or that we have to manage it for him. So that is all different possibilities. We don't obligate anyone to pay with our token, for example. We don't do that. If he wants, he could do that.
So, sorry, just to follow up again. Let's say I owned half the jet and he did. I didn't want to manage what he did. How does it work with the cost base?
Then we will manage it.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Or a third party will manage
And
it.
I can pay you for maintenance like as your token or any other crypto.
Or any fiat also.
Oh, okay.
You can even pay with fiat. It doesn't have to be with tokens.
So it's just like a relationship with some management company.
Yeah, same if you book your flight now, a normal flight, you can book through crypto or you can book through fiat.
Okay.
More questions? No? Thank you. Oh, one more.
Just one last question then. Is considering your real estate side of the business, because I've been working for a construction company before, and what I know is that they use BIM technology.
Yes.
Are you implementing that as well, or looking into that?
If you start about development itself, which is completely different business, then you talk about supply chain and management of construction sites and of DeFi and of factoring and all these kinds of elements, which is not our business. There are really good companies who do that, who are specialized into this. There is one really good in Saudi, and one really good in Dubai, and one really good one in the Netherlands, which I'm aware of. That is extremely interesting, because if you then use blockchain technology and authentication and proof of work, that is amazing. Because most construction companies go bust on their deals or on their construction because of the non-automation of this kind of processes, exactly what you talk about. Including now, for example, material costs went sky high in Samui, yeah, and labor went sky high suddenly in Samui. So how do you control that? If everything was automated, you could have solved this issue. That's an amazing question, and that is some business somebody should do.
I was wondering if you maybe track that on.
No, I wish, but we cannot. We are focused on the other part. Thank you. I'm gonna clap.
Thank you so much for the Spasibo. Right. Thank you so much for the interesting topic and anticipating lots of legal questions. We placed our next speaker right after Derek.